Hello creators, welcome back to this channel. It's your resident internet psychic medium and spiritual advisor, mysticrainn, and today we are going to be going over the Celtic cross spread. So a lot of you have reached out saying that you wanted more tarot spreads, which for me, I was like, what are you talking about? I've given you like 4, like that should be enough, but it wasn't enough, and that's okay. So today we're going to be talking about the Celtic cross spread. Now here's the deal, you guys. This is probably the most important spread that you will have to know as a tarot reader. Now, you have the classic 3-card past, present, future spread, which is cute and everything like that. Everyone should know it, yes, yes. But this is the one you all need to know. Like, this is going to drive some of you all crazy. I'm not going to lie to you because it's a big spread. And as a matter of fact, there's actually 10 cards in this spread. And so when you are a beginner reader, I recognize the fact that this will be daunting for you. And it is going to be daunting because a lot of what you're going to struggle with is trying to figure out a way to memorize it. But the only thing that I can really say to you is, sweetie, you got to figure it out, because every tarot reader that's worth anything at all knows this spread. If you go to a tarot reader or you pay for a reader, most likely they're using this spread. And if they have not used this spread for the duration of the entirety of the whole reading that you did, I promise you they quickly pulled it out for the first 5 minutes to get a quick idea of what was going on in your life before they moved on to something else. But this is the spread that tarot readers use. I don't care if you read for your friends. I don't care if you're professional. This is the main spread that every tarot reader needs to have in your repertoire. You don't have to like it, okay? You can also choose not to use it regularly, but you need to know how to use it and what it is. So this video, we're going to walk you through this spread. I'm going to walk you through the positions of all the cards in this tarot spread, what it means, right? And then at the last part of the video, I'm going to do a sort of pretend reading for you guys using this spread, and I'm going to explain to you how you actually utilize it in a reading and what that's going to look like if you're reading for somebody else or if you're reading for yourself, okay? This is fundamental. I'm going to say it again because this is for beginners. This is a fundamental spread. You have to know it, okay? You have to know it, so just get used to kind of practicing it and trying to memorize it, even if that means writing notes or creating flashcards or something like that. So again, this is a 10-card spread. The first card in your spread is going to be your significator card, right? That can be, this is the card that the entire reading is about, right? It can be about the querent, right? So the querent is whoever the reading is being done for. So if you're reading for like your friend, that's the querent. If you're reading for yourself, that's the querent. It's whoever the reading is for. So it's either that or it's for the situation. So let's say your friend comes to you and they're like, hey, like, does that guy actually like me? Do you think we're going to be together? Yada, 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 so on and so forth. When you do the spread, your friend is going to be represented by this card. This is a significator card. This is the card that the whole reading is about, right? Let's say you want to do the reading for yourself and maybe you want a new job or something, but you want to know more so about the job than you want to know about yourself. Then this card will represent the job itself. So this card is whatever the reading is about. That is going to be this card, and it's going to show you where this person or situation is in its present state. It's going to show you the energy of that present state. It's going to reflect the overall energy that it is, right? The overall energy that's being manifested out of that situation or out of that person in the present state. If you're dealing with the person, that it could potentially show you how that particular person is perceiving the entire situation. But again, at this present state, right, what is actually happening? So the next card is actually going to be the cross. This is the cross of the Celtic cross, right? And so this is actually about the energy that's crossing or interfering with the person or the situation that you're actually trying to read. This energy can be a gift. This energy can be a challenge. It's just the energy that's crossing the situation that you're actually reading, right? So you have the situation in its present state and whatever energy is lying on top of it. This could be helping the situation along, or this could be hindering the situation. You won't know until you pull the card till you see what card it actually is. But this is the energy that is crossing the entire situation or crossing the entire reading. Now, the third card is the card that's sitting on the top as is the above card, right? So think as above, so below. Start thinking that. This card is your consciousness. It's representing what's in your consciousness. It's all the things that you are actually aware of in that moment. So all the things that the person that you're reading for is aware of at the moment. If you're trying to read a situation specifically, most likely it's going to be all the things that you are already aware of is happening in that situation, or all the things that the person you're reading for knows is already happening in that situation. This can also show what it is that you or the person you're reading for is actually actively working towards. So it's possible that it may just show the end goal. It's whatever is happening in the consciousness. It's usually whatever is being focused on at that particular time. The next card is the below card, right? Think as above, so below. It's the subconscious. It's all of the underlying energy that's contributing to the situation. And because it's in the subconscious, it's usually energy that you're not particularly aware of, right? And because of that, it's affecting things on sort of like the subliminal level. It's affecting things that are going on, but in a situation, it's like that underlying energy current. And what you'll find is that a lot of times you're not going to be aware of it. And if you're reading for somebody, they may not be aware of it. And if they are aware of it, it's a very acute awareness. It may be something that they thought of in passing. It was a fleeting thought, but they never really devoted any more time or attention to it. But it's something that is actually affecting the whole energetic current of what's actually going on. This energy will also show you like secret drivers to a situation. So if someone's asking you about something and you can see that they really want it, it's very possible that it may show you the underlying motivation of why they are doing something the way that they're doing it. And a lot of the times they may not actually be aware of it. It could be something that they decided that they wanted 2 years ago. And because they decided it so many years ago, it may not sit in the forefront of their awareness anymore, but it's still an underlying energetic current that's affecting the entire reading and the entire situation. So the next card is number 5. So that's the past card. Now notice the past card is to the left of the significator card. And what did I call that card? I call it the present, right? It's the card that signifies where you are in that present moment, right? Past, present. If you guys look, there's also a future. So follow me here, right? So your past card is the card that's really showing you everything in your past. What I have noticed in reading is that it has a tendency to show near past. It doesn't have to be near past, but it has a tendency to show up as a person's near past. And so you can see the either the previous energy that they're bringing into a circumstance or the karmic energy that they're bringing into a circumstance, which is affecting the situation at the present day, right? And it could be affecting it negatively. It could be a gift that something that they try to start manifesting a long time ago, perhaps if they forgot about it, and in the present moment, things are starting to manifest, right? It's usually near past or karmic energy that's being brought into this situation. The next card, card 6, is the future. Now, here's the thing with this. This is the near future. This is not the final outcome. So if you get a card here that you are interpreting to be negative, remind yourself that it's not necessarily a bad thing, because this is just what's going to happen in the next step of the journey. This is not how the journey completes. The easiest way to do this, let's say someone goes, am I going to get a job? And you see that this card isn't particularly positive. It does not mean that the answer is no. It could potentially mean that there's a hurdle that they have to get through in order to, before they get that job. The answer to that will come out in a lot of the other cards that come out during the remaining of the reading, but it's the near future. Because it's not set in stone, right, because everyone has free will, if it's a card that you don't particularly like that comes out, or you're reading for someone and you can see that they don't particularly like the cards that have come out of the deck, then the beautiful thing is that you can change it. The beautiful thing about tarot is that you can see where you are and you can see what path you're on. And if you don't like that, you can make new decisions and you can change that. And so that's the beautiful thing, in my opinion, about this particular placement, but it's really just showing you the next step on the journey. So after you do all of these, you have now completed the cross part of the Celtic cross, right? Now, this whole part of the reading has a tendency to reflect everything that's happening on the inside of the person that you're reading for. I don't know why that is, but in all my years of reading, I have realized that that is a trend and a theme. This has a tendency to reflect all the intrinsic stuff that's happening to people. Their emotions, where they are mentally, everything that they're happening inside usually comes out on the cross part of the Celtic cross. Now, the next card is 7, and this is attitude. This is how usually the person is actually perceiving what's going on. It's their attitude towards a situation, right? It's oftentimes their outward expression of the attitude towards the situation. So you can have a reading where they look really worried about what's going on, but then the attitude card could be really positive. And what that would show you is that even though they're struggling internally, their outward projection to other people may be positive, right? They may be saying really positive things or happy things about what's actually occurring. But it's their attitude towards the situation. And you really want to pay close attention to the attitude part here, because your attitude can really affect how you manifest things. So if you see that the card is negative and they have a negative way of perceiving what's going on, that may be something that you want to talk to your client about to kind of coach them through that, right? If you see that it's positive, that's awesome too. Like, just give them a high five and keep it moving. But this is the attitude part, how you're viewing the situation. Have a look at whether or not you feel like the attitude is in alignment with the rest of the reading. So if the reading has something to do with something that they want and you see that their attitude is really negative, you may want to talk to them about that, right? And it gives you an idea of how that person is truly feeling. Because a lot of times in readings, people tell you one thing that's not true. It's really amazing how often people lie in readings. I'm still trying to figure that out. You're like, I'm a psychic, right? But like, whatever. So someone can tell you, oh, I feel this way, it's fine, it's not a problem, yada, 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 and then it comes out in a reading and you can see that for them it's actually a huge problem. And if that does happen, you can make a decision on whether or not you want to actually dive deeper into that. I will tell you as a reading, I will tell you as a reader that readers that take a second to coach people through things like that are the ones that have a tendency to do better. Because the worst thing is to have someone say to you, you have a problem, and then provide no solutions to the problem, right? So have a think about that too. But also remember, there are 3 sides to tarot truth, is what I call it, right? There's tarot truth. There's 3 sides to it. It's what the person you're reading says, it's what the tarot says, and it's what the person you're reading feels. Right? So people can say one thing but feel another, and then tarot will completely reveal another. There are 3 tarot truths, right? And so as you look at this attitude card, this will help you figure out that third part of the tarot truth, right? Because when you come in, or when a person comes in for a reading, they will usually tell you the situation or what they perceive the situation to be like, right? That's one part of the tarot truth. Then after you lay the cards out, that will be the second part of the tarot truth, because that's what tarot said. And then this card in this position of the spread will then give you the last part of the tarot truth, which is how they actually feel about what's going on. The 8th card, this is the environment card. So if any card that falls out in this area of this, or in this position in this spread, is the environment. These are external influences. So this can be people, energy, or circumstances that are affecting the final outcome. Sometimes these are things that are out of the person's control. Doesn't mean it's bad, it just may be out of the person's control. So if you get a good idea of what's going on, what's bothering the person, you can also give them an insight to who or what is affecting the circumstances. And if they have this knowledge, they can do something about it. It could be a person, it could be a boss, it could be a family member, right? Or it could just be external things like sometimes you can see through the cards that it's not supposed to happen right now, or maybe they're supposed to wait, right? Maybe the hangman comes out, or maybe the temperance card comes out. Maybe it's just like, oh, no, you're supposed to be in a place of stillness right now. And when people hear that, then they can relax, because they know that it's not that they're stuck. It's not that they're in limbo. It's just a phase of life where they're supposed to wait a little bit, right? So this will tell you what's happening on the outside that can potentially be influencing the situation as a whole, or the person as a whole. The 9th card is our hopes, dreams, and our fears. It's what you hope or fear will happen. Hope and fear are 2 sides of the same spectrum, right? It's the same spectrum. Hope is on one side, fear is on the other side. Hope and fear can also be the same for people, meaning that if you fear it, you may present it from happening, right? So sometimes you can focus on something so hard because you're afraid of it so much that you actually manifest that, right? And so the hope and the fear can actually be two sides of the same coin. So it's your hopes, dreams, and fears. What you actually want to happen or what you're afraid is actually going to happen. The way you tell the difference between the two, usually they'll usually tell you, right? So if you're reading for somebody, they'll usually tell you what it is. But most of the time, you'll be able to see whether or not it's a hope or a fear. If it's a hope, let's say the Sun card comes out, or one of the court cards come out, maybe it's a cup, maybe one of the aces come out, you can see that they want the opportunity or want the new beginning or want the love or like whatever. You can see that it's very clearly a hope card. If it comes out and it's like the 10 of swords, the 3 of swords, it's the death card, maybe it's the devil card, you can actually see that it's a fear. So being able to tell the difference is actually a lot easier than you would think it is. But if for whatever reason you get stuck, most of the time the person will just tell you whether or not it's something they're worried about or whether or not they really want it, like they really hope it'll happen, right? And the last card in the 10th position of the spread is the final outcome. So this is showing you what's going to happen if you continue on the current course of action. So if you're going through the reading and let's say you're like, I hate all of this. This is all crap. I don't want any of this to happen. This is not saying anything good. Because you see it, you have the ability to course correct. You have the ability to change what it is that you're doing in order to change the final outcome. If you like the final outcome and the aspects of that, then you change nothing because it's literally showing you what will transpire if you continue on the current course of action. So this is the Celtic cross spread. So now what we're going to do is flip this camera around and I'm going to do a pretend reading for you guys so you can see how the spread will actually be utilized when it's actually in action. Okay, so what we're going to do is a pretend reading so you understand what this looks like in practice. Trust me when I say I understand that for a lot of you, when you come across this is going to seem really intense. It's a big spread, it's a lot of cards, and it's going to seem like a lot, but I'm telling you right now that every tarot reader needs to have this spread in their repertoire because every tarot reader that's a professional reader or someone that just reads a lot knows how to do this spread. Whether or not it's their favorite spread is their business. But whether or not you need to know how to do it is a completely different scenario. This is something that every tarot reader needs to know how to do. And that's a Mary Had a Little Lamb, okay? So let's have a pretend reading. Let's say that we have someone that that you're reading for, and let's say that they're really worried about their job situation. They don't like their job. They want to quit their job, and they're thinking about quitting their job before they get a new job. So they come to you and they say, is that a good idea? Will I find a new job? Or should I quit my job before I find a new job, right? Like they want to have help in that kind of scenario. And so we're just going to do examples on how you can actually read something like that and what that could actually look like. So if you want to know how you can shuffle like this. If you want to, some people like to shuffle in a way where they have the cards like that, and then they cut the cards in like 2 piles. Some like to cut the cards in 3 piles, and then they like to put all the piles back together again, right, in a different kind of order. You can do that as well. That's your business. There is no sort of suggestion on like what is better than the other. And some people like to shuffle the cards like this. That's fine as well. You can do all of the 3. You can do one of the 3. You can mix and match. There is no proper way to shuffle the cards. Just move them around as you see fit. Now, some people have a hard time shuffling it like that. They don't do good like that. So what I've actually seen people do is do this. I've seen them mix them around on the table, right? Like that's an option too that you can do. It doesn't really matter. How do I do it? I typically am the person that does it like the first option that I showed you, which is like this. That's typically how I shuffle my cards, right? Okay, So when it comes to this particular spread, the Celtic cross, right? So the first card will be your significator card, right? Usually the card to show the querent. Now, I personally don't read reversals. I turn all the cards up, right side up. And so for this one, if this is the person that's asking me about their job, to me, what this shows is that it's a really emotional situation for them, right? They feel really unsure. A lot of they're feeling really worried because they can't necessarily see what's on the other side, if it's the right decision. I would actually feel like what I would get intuitively for this, because the moon is there are things that are hidden, right, when it comes to the moon, particularly things sometimes around secrets happens a lot when you see this. So like when people come to me and they say, hey, is my significant other cheating? And this card pops out, I'm like, oh, doesn't look too good, right? So let's say that person is trying to figure out their job situation. I would actually stop them and say, is everything okay at work? Do you feel like people are trying to sabotage you? Are you like afraid that maybe you're going to get fired? Is that why you're trying to rush through this decision? For me, that is what will kick in if I see this card. But it's typically a card that's like, oh crap, like it's really emotional for them. They don't know what to do. For them, for whatever reason, their perspective is that there's a lot of mystery behind what's going on. And they can't really see clearly, right? And then for the second card, this would be the energy that's crossing them, right? So in this particular situation, you would have the devil energy that's crossing them. Now remember, the devil is a card really of self-sabotage. When you see the card, usually it's depicting you as the devil. You are doing some sort of self-sabotaging behavior in this circumstance. And so if I see this with the moon, my thing is, okay, well, what are you doing? Right? You're trying to leave a job. If you're trying to leave it quickly, why? Did you do something that was wrong at work? Is it a situation where maybe you're just feeling really insecure at work and so you're self-sabotaging, or you're trying to leave? Does somebody else come into the job? Are you feeling like you can no longer do the job? Did you lie to your boss? Did you steal something that maybe you weren't supposed to steal? When you see the devil, it's about that person and their sort of self sabotaging behavior, right? So then you have what's above you, your consciousness, right? And so in this particular spread, everything is going to be a little bit on top of each other because I can't get it all in frame. Let me see. Let's see if I can actually edit this really quick. Maybe I can get some more things in frame. But so we would have this card that would come up, and it's sitting in the ring light, so I'm going to have to move it over here temporarily so you guys can see it. And so obviously what I can see from this is that this is a decision that's really weighing heavy on you, right? It's a huge burden. You feel like if you have to make the decision, it's a lot weighing on you, right? So then I want to know, what are all these sticks that you're carrying? Maybe some of it is the responsibility that you feel like you hold to your family. Are you the breadwinner from your family? Are you worried about whether or not you're going to be able to take care of your kids? How much was the income that you have? Can you afford to lose it? Are these burdens or these sticks that you're carrying, is that related to the job specifically? Is the job too much responsibility? Are you overwhelmed at work, right? These are the things that I'm looking for in this. And a lot of times you'll be able to answer those questions. One, if your intuition didn't kick in to already tell you what's actually going on when it comes to this, people, a lot of the times that person would have told you. They would have come to you in that state like, oh my gosh, everything at work is really overwhelming. I don't know what to do, yada, 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 so on and so forth. Below, what we have below you, right, and so we're just going to have to readjust this again so it's in frame so you can see it. You got the 5 of Cups, right? So this is your subconscious. This is the underlying energy that's kind of contributing to this situation, right? Sometimes people are aware of this energy. Sometimes they're not necessarily aware of this energy. What I find in my practice is that most of the times they're not aware of it, right? And so for this, it's like this person is afraid that they have lost something, or not afraid, they're sad that they've lost something, right? And they're not realizing that they still have two cups that are over here full, right? 2 cups in here that actually have blessings in them, and they can't see it because they're so focused on the fact that they've lost whatever they've lost that they felt was in this cup, right? And then on top of that, they still have a long ways to go on this journey. This journey is not complete. So you still see this river and you see this bridge and you see these buildings over here, which means that's where they were headed. That's where they were going. And so what I would actually say here, if it's a situation where people are saying, oh my God, like, should I leave my job? Will I be okay? what I would say from this is that the underlying energy of your situation actually tells me that yes, you will, because there's still more to do in your journey here, right? The issue is because you're so focused on this job right now and you're so afraid of losing things, probably most likely the money or the income, you're having a hard time seeing the blessings that are behind you. That's how I would interpret what's going on right now. Another way you can interpret this would be like, because you're so focused on potentially losing the job, right? You can't see that perhaps there's a way to fix the situation that you're currently experiencing at work, because all is not lost. So then we would have what comes up in the past, right? And so this card is really good for getting an idea of the energy that the person is bringing into the actual current situation. And so here we have the Four of Pentacles here, right? So a lot of times when you see this person is usually somewhat stable, but they are holding on to that energy. They're holding on to the stability, right? So you see him holding on to all of his pentacles, right? A lot of times this does refer to our material things, usually money. And then one of the pentacles is over this person's heart, their heart chakra, right? So it's really important to them. They're clinging to it, they're grasping for it, and they're clinging to it in such a way that they're almost afraid that they're going to lose it, right? So this person in this pretend situation is coming into this pretend situation having an issue with money. They're having an issue with losing money. Stability is really, really important to them. And if they lose money, they don't do well with that, right? Like this is their energetic predisposition coming into the scenario. And you can see that would make sense, because if you come into your present state, right? Because this is a significator card, the card of the querent, but it's also showing you where that person is at that present moment. That person is in a state of emotional turmoil, a little bit of mystery, because they are afraid of what's going to happen next. And then you have the fact that the devil is what's crossing them. So they are self-sabotaging. They have self-sabotaging behavior when it comes to making this decision in terms of what it is that they have to do with their job. You can see in their subconscious that they're already afraid of losing it, and they're afraid of what's going to happen should they walk away from it. And you can see that they're already aware of the fact that walking away would be a huge burden for them and would give them a lot of anxiety. So if this person is started with this energetic predisposition, right, clinging and holding on to money, then of course all of this now starts to make sense, because you understand what energy came in there from that present moment. And I can see that the camera is a little shaky because I keep banging on it. I'll try to do better, but bear with me here. All right, going forward, you have the Two of Cups here. So this is what's set to happen in the future of their journey. This isn't the final outcome card, right? Remember, this is just a near future card. So if they continue on their journey where they are, this is the sort of next step in the process. So Two of Cups can mean a lot of things, right? It could be associated with love, finding partnership, right? But this card is also the card of contracts. So if someone comes to me and they're like, hey, I'm really worried. I want to leave my job, but I don't know if I'm going to get a new job. And I see a contract here in their near future. What I would say is actually, yes, the odds actually look really good for you. You're going to be offered something. Somebody's going to come to you with an offer for something. And a lot of the times in this particular reading, in this scenario, I would say that most likely it would pertain to some sort of job or opportunity, right? And this could also be, because it's contracts, it can be a renegotiation of your current job. It could be a renegotiation of maybe your current salary or your current job responsibilities. So if it's a situation where somebody was thinking about leaving their job because they weren't particularly happy with their responsibilities, but maybe they loved their job overall, I would actually say to them, hey, have you ever considered going back to your boss or whoever is in charge, HR, whatever, and ask them if there's a possibility for room or advancement in your job? Can you see if there's a way to turn your responsibilities around? Can you negotiate a salary increase? Whatever. Is that something that you'd be opening to doing? Because in the future, the energy is going to be there for you in order to have these conversations. But if not, that's cool too. I wouldn't worry about it, because there is an opportunity coming in the form of some negotiation or some contract that is on its way to you. So this part of the spread is what makes up the cross part of the Celtic cross, right? So we're going to move that over here so we have more room. So then the next card would be the Attitude card, right? So remember, I don't read reversals. So this is the person's attitude going into the situation. So yeah, they're worried, right? So what's crossing them is anxiety, is worry. I wouldn't put too much judgment into this or thought into this, because when people move jobs, this a lot of times is what happens in the psyche, right? They are a lot of times very worried about it. But their attitude is one of hope. Their attitude is one of somebody coming in with a cup or an offer. Now in tarot, when you see cups lined up in this kind of way, where there's almost like they're presenting it, a lot of times what this is showing you is that it's a presentation of an offer that's coming to you. Now, if you're reading a love reading and it's all cups, right? This would be kind of like, it's cliche, but kind of like that knight in shining armor, your knight, your charming, like the Prince Charming or whatever, coming to you with your sort of cup of love, an offer of love, an offer to date you or whatever. But in this particular circumstance, because we're talking about work, typically it would be an offer of some form of opportunity in relation to that. Now, this is in the attitude position. So this is talking about the person that's actually being read for. This would actually tell me that even though they're really worried about it, that they are hopeful that they will get a different kind of opportunity. And so if I see this come out in a reading, I will have a look at this. And in this, I did suggest that maybe that person would want to go back and try to renegotiate with their current employer. But seeing this is new. This is a new opportunity walking into you. So what I would think from that particular point going forward would be, oh, you know what? They're probably not interested in going to renegotiate. They probably just want a new opportunity. They probably just want out, right? That's how I would read this. Then the next card would be the environment card. So I'm going to start moving things down because I can't fit them all in frame. But your environment card here would be justice. So this is all of the energy that's happening outside of you or outside of the person being read for and outside of the circumstance that you're reading for. So for me, this would be amazing. If I saw justice, the first thing I would think about in terms of it being in your environment position is, you know what? Things are going to work out in your favor. It will be just for you. It'll be fair for you. That the universe and the energy around you is conspiring in order to bring down this sort of truth in your favor. So if you're wanting a brand new offer of employment because you don't really want to renegotiate where you are today, if you want something brand new, right? If I see this, an offer that's coming in, this, I can already see that you're hopeful for an offer that's going to come in. And then I see in your environment position that the sort of truth is ready to come down in your favor. This is starting to look good as a reading, right? This is starting to bode really well. Like, hey, you know what? You may not need to worry about it. Then the next card would be your hopes, your dreams, and your fears. So in this particular example, I'm going to move it over here just to get it out of the ring light, is strength, right? So what this is telling me is that you're hopeful that you're having the strength to kind of power through the scenario. You know it's hard for you. You know you're nervous. You know that you don't really know what's on the other side. But if I see this, and this is coming out in your attitude, I can see this hope here that you're having another opportunity, and I see this coming out in your hopes, dreams, and fears space, then I can see that even though you're going through a lot of mental turmoil, because maybe you're worried and you're anxious about things, that there's still a large part of you that's like, but I know that I need to do this. I know I have to have the strength to order and to leave my current state because it's just not working for me. And you're trying to maintain the faith and a hope that it'll work well. Next card would be the final outcome card, which would go here, right? And so it would kind of, I'm just going to condense it a little bit to give you guys a better idea of what the final spread looks like. Even though I can't all fit it in frame here with the Celtic cross, but you have it is all on top of each other. I recognize that, but follow me here, right? So you would have the cross part that's here. And then this long part on this side is the staff, right? And then, so in this particular example, you have this final card here. I'll put it here just so you can see it. The Ace of Wands, right? So the aces are always the beginning of a journey, right? So an Ace of Wands is the beginning of a new journey of passion, right? Whereas the Ace of Cups will be the beginning of a new journey of emotions. The Ace of Swords will be a new journey of something mental, and the Ace of Pentacles will be the journey of something material. So this is a new journey of something of passion. And so with here, you see the arm coming out of the clouds. So this is an offer from the universe that's coming into you with something of passion. So what this is telling me is that you will receive this offer that was showing up here, this offer that you were waiting for down here, and this offer that is meant to rule in your favor here. You will see it. It'll come to you, and that it'll be something that you're really passionate about and something that you actually really like. And so if someone said to me, hey, I want to leave my job, am I going to get another one? Based off of all of this in this particular spread and being able to see all aspects of what's going on, I would say final outcome says yes. Right? And so that would be the final answer to it. But you as a reader, your responsibility is to help them through all of this other stuff. So even as you as a reader can see that, yes, it's here. If you can see here that this person is nervous, that they have anxiety about everything that's going on, then most likely they're not going to have the ability to see all of this, right? They're not going to have the ability to see this new offer that's supposed to be coming in if I can get it out of the ring light. They're not going to be able to see that the universe and the environment is conspiring in order to work in their favor. They're not going to actually be able to see all of this. So you have to walk them through this. That's your job as a reader. So you can say, hey, based on your past, I can see that you have a hard time with money. I can see it's something that's really important to you, that when you get it, you're afraid to let it go. I can see that you have a tendency to cling to it. Maybe you have a tendency to hoard it a little bit because there's a fear there that you'll lose it, right? Because this is what this card is telling you. And you can walk them through that journey. I can see that you're worried here, that you feel like there's a little bit of mystery going on, but some of that's coming from your own ability to self-sabotage. Perhaps you're self-sabotaging because you're hoarding everything, because you're afraid of losing everything, right? Maybe that lack mentality is putting you in a position of what you are in today. Hey, I can see that you feel overly burdened. What's going on? What's going on in your life? Let me walk you through some steps to help you put some of these branches down, because you're carrying a little bit too many things. Let's talk about that. Let's work through that. Like, hey, I can see that you're really bummed out about this opportunity, but let's focus on these cups that you have standing. Let's talk about this journey that you still have to complete. Your job as a reader is to go in. Not only did you give them the final answer, you gave them the final outcome because it came through, but as you get better at reading, and I recognize that right now I may be asking you for a lot for all of our newbies and all of our beginners, but as you get more comfortable with your reading, you'll start to notice that readers really are advisors, right? You're psychic advisors at the end of the day, and you'll be able to use these symbols that are in these cards to pluck out issues that you can talk about when it comes to your clients. And so for anyone that's like, oh, like, well, where do I get that information? Where do I get information on symbols and what things do? You can check out, I have a playlist, a Learning Tarot for Beginners playlist that I will attach somewhere to this video. It's probably going to be in the description box below, where I actually go through the important symbols in each card that you actually need to look out for. And so when you have an understanding of these symbols that you're looking at, you have the understanding of the things that you actually need to talk to your client or your querent or maybe yourself about when you're reading through these. So I hope you guys have a good idea of what it's supposed to look like. I can understand that, like, my rig doesn't go higher than this when it comes to this camera. And so I'm hoping that you can see the vision here, right? So we're going to create it one more time. So this is the cross part of the Celtic cross. If you can see it, work with me here. And I apologize for the shaking of the video. So work with me on that too, but it is what it is. And then you also have the staff over here when all the sort of cards are lined up, right? So that's kind of what it is that you're creating. Right? So typically what's happening is this part of the reading, you'll notice as you do it often, it has everything to do with that person's inner self, what's happening to them intrinsically. And then this part of the reading over here, the staff, is a lot of the times everything that's kind of happening more extrinsically. You'll see this part manifest in their inner world and their inner emotions and their inner mental state. And you usually will see this part manifest outwardly. So that's going to bring us to the end of this video. For all of you that were curious about different tarot cards, maybe you're still starting on your journey and you want a recommendation for different tarot cards, you can go out and check the description box below to a link to my Amazon storefront. So on my Amazon storefront is literally everything that Mystic Rainn owns and everything that Mystic Rainn uses. So you can find tarot cards, oracle cards, spiritual books that I highly recommend that I have in my collection that I've read, and also spiritual tools and items. So for this particular case, if you're really interested in tarot cards, I would actually recommend that you go ahead and take a look there to get an idea of what to use. So I have put all the decks that I have that are beginner friendly, and those will be all the Rider-Waite's, right? I said it once and I'll say it again. If you're new to this journey, a Rider-Waite deck is important. There's tons of additions to Rider-Waite. If you go to the Amazon storefront, you will see multiple additions in the Amazon storefront that I personally have in my arsenal. Any of the additions is fine as long as you have a Rider-Waite deck. The reason for this is because all tarot decks these days that are released mass market are based on the Rider-Waite deck. If you learn how to read the Rider-Waite deck, then you can read any other deck. So have a look there. And then if you're also curious as the other items in the storefront, you can go ahead and peruse and look around. I am an Amazon influencer, so if you do make a purchase there, I will earn some money. But I would actually recommend you start there if you're trying to figure out what to get. All of these things are Mystic Rainn approved and Mystic Rainn used. So I hope this video was helpful, and if you like what you see, please subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, and I will see you all soon.